Yeah.
You're doing something take a vacation, mom, to get my balance is good. I can't move my arm above my head. I really need that.
Everybody ready? Good evening and welcome to the January 13th, 2019 meeting of the Shawnee City Council. I would ask that you please silence your electronic devices at this time. I am Mayor Michelle Disler. I'll be chairing this meeting. I'll do a roll call at this time. Councilmember Knappen was sworn in on Friday afternoon and is participating by phone. Councilmember Knappen, are you there?
I am. I can hear you. Thank you.
Councilmember Zimmerman?
Present.
Councilmember Jenkins?
Present.
Councilmember Kimling?
Present.
Councilmember Larson-Bonnell?
Present.
Councilmember Constance?
Present.
Thank you. Please stand, join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next, City Clerk Zaldivar will administer the oath of office to the newly elected and re-elected members of the governing body.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, the state law mandates that all mayors and council members take an oath of office prior to assuming the duties of office. It is my privilege to administer that oath this evening to 5 individuals who have been selected by the citizens of the respective boards represented. The responsibilities they are about to represent the citizens of Shawnee include 14 is a member one member of a government body that relies on an open decision-making process to bring together different citizen input involving citizens in city government. No other level of government offers the opportunity for that it serves to be so called. Be by serving on boards and commissions. General direction, setting policy to guide the city's future. Decisions you make today in our community's quality of life into the future. Eric Jenkins.
I'll walk around.
Sworn in office. Mr. Jenkins.
I, Eric Jenkins,
Do solemnly
solemnly affirm
swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Kansas, faithfully discharge the duties of the councilman. So help me God. Thanks to all those who voted.
the map. Eliza Goodell was first sworn into office in November 2018, Philadelphia City. Last November, the citizens of Ward 3 elected her to continue this mission.
I, Lisa Larson Bonneau,
Do solemnly affirm
do solemnly affirm
that I will support
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the State of Kansas,
and the Constitution of the State of Kansas, faithfully discharge the duties of Ward 3 Council. So help me God.
Service. Gary Thomas. Last November, the citizens of Ward 1 elected Ms. Thomas to represent you. She finished her first term as Ward 1 councilwoman. Thomas, you please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Simon James Thomas, do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States and faithfully discharge the duties of Ward
Is here with me in spirit.
ADJOURNMENT. Last November, the citizens of Ward 4 elected Ms. Chelsea to represent them. And tonight she begins her first term as a Ward. Do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the
Yeah, like 3/4 of the room. Thank you, everybody. My husband Michael is in the front row, and my daughter Lily, my son Luke, and my daughter Grace. Office here in April of 2002. Served on the council as the Board of Councils from April 2006 to 2008. Last November, the citizens elected her to continue representing the Constitution of the state.
Okay, now that we have everyone seated, I'll explain our procedures for public input. During the meeting, I'll offer the opportunity for public input. If you'd like to speak to the council at any of those times, please come forward to the microphone. I ask you to state your name and address for the record, then you may offer your comments. So that members of the audience can hear your comments, I would ask that you speak directly into the microphone. By policy, comments are limited to 5 minutes. No person may speak more than twice to any one agenda item. Only comments related to city business are permitted. Comments and remarks that are personal, impertinent, or slanderous are not permitted. Disruptive acts are not permitted. After you are finished, please sign the form on the podium to ensure we have an accurate record of your name and address. In addition, while we won't do a roll call vote on every vote, I will state council members' names who vote in minorities so that our listening audience will have a clear and accurate record of the vote. The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. Does anyone have an item they would like to remove from the consent agenda? Seeing none, I'll accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion has been made, seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Motion passes. The next item on the agenda is mayor's items. I just want to remind members of the council to let me know if you're interested in serving on the Economic Development Council, Visit Shawnee Advisory Committee, or the Bi-State Cultural District Commission. Please let me know by the end of the week. The next item is business from the floor. Is there anyone who has comments on an issue that is not on tonight's agenda? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Ray Ehrlichman, 7510 Garnett Street here in Shawnee. First, welcome to the city council, the new council people. Enjoy it. Back in the beginning of December, I submitted a call request to the city, and unfortunately, I'm presenting the information tonight because it took a while for some individuals to come through with their information. And this I found very troubling, and it's happened in the past, and I brought it to the attention. There was a National League of Cities meeting in November. The 4 people attended: former Councilmember Sandifer, Councilmember Larson-Bunnell, former Councilmember Meyer, and City Manager Sunderman. And the thing I found troubling was that between Mr. Sandifer and Ms. Meyer, who attended the meeting in November, who knew they were not going to be on the council after tonight, there was $4,700 in money spent. And I just feel that this is inappropriate. Going forward, there's some individuals in the city that are going to be making a suggestion to the council on a proposed policy statement regarding that, especially when you have an individual who knew 10 months ahead of time that they weren't going to be coming back, since they had not filed for re-election. This is something I think going forward, the council and the new council people need to look at. Expenditure of city funds for appropriate meeting attendance where you might pick up some good information for the city is great. But when you're going to be off the city rolls 2 months after the conference, I think that's an abuse. Technically, their attendance was legal because they were members of the council at the time that they left. I just think it was too close to their termination, not termination, but coming off the council. Before I sit down, I've got a homework assignment for the new council members. The oath of office was given to you to abide by the constitutions of the United States and the state of Kansas. So a quick reading assignment should take no more than a minute and a half. Please read Section 3 of the Bill of Rights of the Constitution of the state of Kansas. You might find it quite interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else have comments on an issue that is not on tonight's agenda? Please step forward, name and address for the record.
Tracy Thomas, 13022 West 76 Terrace in Seven Hills. I'm here tonight speaking for about 125 people who are hopping mad on Nextdoor about roaming coyotes or bobcats that are killing small dogs in Shawnee. And this is of issue to you because you are in charge of the Animal Control Division through the Shawnee Police Department. So a woman in Water's Edge had her little 13-year-old dog was killed in her backyard while it was in an enclosed 6-foot fence. It wasn't eaten, but it was eviscerated, and so people are really upset about this. And so when Animal Control came out, they might need a little coaching on how to, console people in grief. They said, well, the animals, the coyotes or whatever were here first, which that's a sad thing to say. I mean, the Indians were here first, but they're not coming in and attacking our families. 2 people on Nextdoor have said that they've gotten pellet guns. Well, and I checked with the police yesterday, and using a pellet gun in the city, unless you're at a shooting range, is illegal. And it's just going to upset the animal. It doesn't kill them, although I'm from Iowa where we say you could put an eye out. But I asked the police to please post the law that you can't just, go arm yourself. We don't need armed posses. And if they're not shooting straight out their backyard, if they're shooting in the corner of their fence, they could be hitting somebody else's pets or something like that. In Seven Hills, where we've had incidents with beaver and raccoons, if critter control is hired, what they do is trap and relocate. So I would like the city to check into maybe trapping and relocating. Some people have estimated that maybe they've posted pictures of the coyotes, and they're real skinny and hungry. Apparently some might have been lost their environment to live with the development of the Ken Smith golf course area. But I would like you to look at that because it's called the Animal Control Division, not the Animal Tolerance Division. So 125 votes, that could swing an election. So thank you very much. And remember, it's like what we say on the congratulations on your election. And we say for people who go to Topeka, second prize is 2 terms. But hopefully that will not be the case here. Thank you very much for your service.
Thank you. Anyone else has comments on an issue that is not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, next item on the agenda is council items. Item number 1 is the election of the 2020 council president. Charter Ordinance number 45 provides at the first regular city council meeting in January of each year, the governing body shall elect 1 member of the council as council president. Pursuant to policy statement number 7, the city clerk will distribute ballots to all council members who are physically present. Each council member will place a check mark next to the name of the council member they wish to receive the first nomination and return their ballots to the city clerk. The city clerk will then place the ballots on the overhead projector and I will tally them. The council member with the most check marks will receive the first motion for the council president. A majority vote is required to elect the council president. Is there any discussion from the council? I'll accept the ballots.
Mayor, do I get a nomination?
Current policy says those who are physically present, so the council will have to update the policy, and we can't have a policy discussion tonight since it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
But you do get a vote.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so am I correct in that there is 4 for Lisa Larson-Bonnell and 3 for Eric Jenkins?
Yes.
Okay, I will accept a motion to elect Lisa Larson-Bonnell as council president.
So moved.
A motion has been made and seconded on this item. I will do a roll call vote. Councilmember Knappen?
Nay.
Councilmember Thomas?
Nay.
Councilmember Zimmerman?
Yay.
Councilmember Jenkins?
Nay.
Councilmember Kemling?
Nay.
Councilmember Larson-Bonnell?
Yay.
Councilmember Constance?
Yes.
Councilmember Chalfie?
Yes.
Okay, motion fails 4-4. I will now accept a motion to elect Eric Jenkins as council president.
So moved.
A motion has been made and seconded on this item. Councilmember Knappen?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas? Councilmember Zimmerman?
Nay.
Councilmember Jenkins?
Yes.
Councilmember Kemling?
Aye.
Councilmember Larson-Bonnell?
Nay.
Councilmember Constance?
Nay.
Councilmember Chalfie?
Nay.
Motion fails 4-4. I will now open up the motions, if anyone wants to make a motion. Does anyone want to nominate someone other than, are you saying, I didn't know what you're, are you doing?
I'm sorry, I was, I moved to nominate Matt Zimmerman.
Okay, I have a motion for Matt Zimmerman for council president. Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Councilmember Knappen?
Nay.
Councilmember Thomas?
Nay.
Councilmember Zimmerman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jenkins?
Nay.
Councilmember Kemling?
Nay.
Councilmember Larson-Bonnell?
Yes.
Councilmember Constance?
Yes.
Councilmember Chalfie?
Yes.
Motion fails 4-4. Do I have any additional nominations? Okay. If we have no further motions, we will table this to the next council meeting.
I would request that the mayor go ahead and break the tie.
I was told that the mayor can break the tie on this. There's a tie, and I think it's time for the mayor to go ahead and make her position on it. Let's go on.
Well, and we were all just sworn in to work together as a group, and I think the council needs to be able to come together to make this decision as our first step to be able to work together as a group. So item number 2 is the election of the 2020 Council Committee Vice Chair. Policy Statement PS7, Conduct of Public Meetings, provides that the first regular city council meeting in January of each year, the governing body shall elect one member of the council as the vice chair of the council committee. The policy also establishes the nomination process. The city clerk will distribute ballots to all council members who are physically present. Each council member will place a check mark next to the name of the council member they wish to first nominate and return their ballots to the city clerk. The city clerk will then place the ballots on the overhead projector and I will tally them. The council member with the most check marks will receive the first motion for vice chairperson. A majority vote is required to elect the vice chair. Is there any discussion from the council? Am I correct that we have 4 for Lindsay Constance and 3 for Mike Kimling? Yes. I will accept a motion to elect Lindsay Constance as vice chair.
So moved.
Second?
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. I'll do a roll call vote. Councilmember Knappen?
Nay.
Councilmember Thomas? Councilmember Zimmerman?
Yes.
Councilmember Jenkins?
Nay.
Councilmember Kimling?
Nay.
Councilmember Larson Bonnell?
Yay.
Councilmember Constance?
Yes.
Councilmember Chowfie?
Yes.
Motion fails 4-4. I will accept a motion to elect Mike Kimling as vice chair.
So moved?
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. Councilmember Knappen?
Yes.
Councilmember Thomas?
Aye.
Councilmember Zimmerman?
Nay.
Councilmember Jenkins?
Aye.
Councilmember Kimling?
Aye.
Councilmember Larson Bonnell?
Nay.
Councilmember Constance?
Nay.
Councilmember Chowfie?
Nay.
Motion fails 4-4. I will now open it up for any additional motions, any nominations. Seeing none, this will also be tabled to the next council meeting. The next item on the agenda is staff items. Item number 1 is to consider authorizing staff to bid design services for the 67th Street and Quivira Road traffic signal replacement project. The project is included in the 2020 to 2029 capital improvement program. The traffic signal was purchased from Evergy, formerly KCP&L, in 2010 and is scheduled for replacement. The estimated project cost is $270,000 and is included in the budget. The recommended action is to consider authorizing staff to bid the project. A majority vote is required for approval. Does anyone on the council have any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
Move to approve? Second?
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 2 is to consider approving and authorizing staff to bid the 2020 street maintenance program. The city's 2020 street maintenance program addresses mill and overlay resurfacing, curb and sidewalk repairs, full-depth pavement repairs, bridge maintenance, crack sealing throughout the city. The city's next street improvement program project scheduled in 2020 will be the 60th Street between Neiman Road and Flint Street. Staff is seeking authorization to bid the 2020 mill and overlay contract and other contracts associated with the 2020 street maintenance program. Recommended action is to consider approving the 2020 street maintenance program and authorizing staff to bid the project. A majority vote is required for approval. Does anyone on the council have any questions? Anyone on the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Item number 3 is to consider bids, award contract number 2020-002 for the 52nd Street and Woodland Drive area storm drainage improvements project number 3463. This is the last of the original 6 major projects that were included in the $8 million bonds for stormwater that was included in the capital improvement program. 5 bids were received. Staff is recommending awarding the bid to VF Anderson Builders, LLC, with additional bid alternate number 1 and number 2 contingent upon easement acquisition in the amount of $498,631.13. Recommended actions: consider approving and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract as approved by the city attorney. A majority vote is required for approval. Does anyone on the council have any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
Tracy Thomas, 13022 West 76 Terrace. Let's say there's a 4-4 vote on this one. I don't understand, maybe Ellis Rainey, our city attorney, can explain. Does the mayor have the power to table a motion indefinitely without a motion on the floor and without any vote? Because we could be at a stalemate for 4 years based on a 4-4 split. We never had 4-4 splits in the last term. It was usually 6-2. But the mayor is elected to make a decision in case of a 4-4 vote. And
Our charter ordinance says the mayor may cast a vote in favor of the motion. She's not required to or obligated to or mandated to.
okay, and then what are the rules about tabling? Can the mayor just table things at will?
The mayor decides all points of order under our charter ordinance and our policy statement, and in this case, there was no other motion. So we couldn't just sit here for the balance of the evening. We had to finish the business, and tabling the item seemed like the most logical and the only option that was available for us.
But shouldn't that have been a motion to table?
Well, if it should have been or could have been or would have been, I think is irrelevant at this point. The mayor decides all points of order under our policy statement, our charter ordinance, and our form of government, and the item was deemed to have been tabled to the next meeting because there was no other motion or action taken.
Okay, so my comment is that the council should require a motion to table and take a vote on motioning in the future. You're not going to go backwards to the election of the council president, even though the fact that somebody has to take that job, that doesn't mean we're not all working together for the good of Shawnee.
I don't have any authority to do that. Only these elected officials have the authority to do that. But I think you and I you're using the word should, and I'm using the word could have.
Or shall. Yeah.
Depending on whether we're talking about the motion to table or the vote to break a tie.
Right, but there was no motion to table, and so I
That
guess
is correct, and
I'm
maybe
alerting
if there
the
was or
new
should have
council
been.
to be alert to that,
Okay, if you're just,
or we'll be here for 4 years just not getting anything done. Thank you. Do I need to sign a second time?
Yes, please. A
Okay.
motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Aye. Motion passes. Item number 4 is to consider contract number 2020-003, a funding agreement with the Kansas Department of Transportation for the ADA Signals and Sidewalks Improvement Project, authorizing staff to bid for design services. This project is included in the 2020 to 2029 capital improvement program. It will bring several signalized intersections and adjacent sidewalks into compliance with the American with Disabilities Act. The estimated project cost is $600,000 and is included in the budget. A project funding agreement is required. The recommended action is consider approving and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract as approved by the city attorney. A majority vote is required for approval. Does anyone on the council have any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made, seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Aye. Motion passes. Item number 5 is to consider contract number 2020-004 reimbursement agreement with the Kansas Department of Transportation for the Monticello Road Project Phase 1 from Shawnee Mission Parkway to 71st Street, project number 3489. This project's on the 2020-2029 Capital Improvement Program. Federal Service Transportation Program funds have been approved for reimbursement for 80% in the amount of all construction and construction engineering cost up to $3 million. A reimbursement agreement is required. Recommended actions: consider approving and authorizing the mayor to sign the contract as approved by the city attorney. A majority vote is required for approval. Does anyone on the council have any questions?
Mayor, can I make a comment?
Yes.
I just want to say I'm really excited about this project getting started, and I want to give our city staff a lot of credit for securing $3 million in grant money, so nice job.
Thank you. Mr. Jenkins?
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear on this paragraph where it talks about funds have been approved for reimbursement for 80% in the amount of all construction and construction engineering cost up to $3 million. 80% and $3 million don't really kind of match up there. So is it 80% or is it $3 million? And I'm not really sure how the reimbursement process works. We have to submit, documentations and then they reimburse, or just can we get a little bit of outline on how that process works from Doug? I'd appreciate it.
Doug Whitaker, Public Works Director. The 80% is 80%, so what would be 80% that would equal $3 million, if you understand where I'm going. The cost of this project is $5 or $6 million. The state will only reimburse up to 80% of construction costs, so we couldn't get more than 80% with a maximum of $3 million.
Okay, so there's a lid of $3 million.
$3 million is
or 80%.
Right. We were awarded of the STP fund pot that came to Mark. We were awarded $3 million, which I think was one of the larger projects.
Yeah, well, I think it's great. I just want to get it clear on my own mind how that was going to.
They won't.
Actually
If for some reason $3 million was more than 80%, we'd back off the $3 million to whatever would be less. Would equal 80%. If you understand where I'm going.
Yeah, I do. Great. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? Accept a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item number 6 is to consider the purchase of replacement fleet vehicles and equipment for the police, fire, public works, and parks and recreation departments. The city participates in the Mid-America Council of Public Procurements, MACPP, and the Houston-Galveston Area Council's HGAC biannual vehicle bid. The police, fire, public works, and parks and recreation departments are recommended replacing various vehicles, including a fire engine, dump truck, street sweeper, and other corresponding equipment for a total amount of $1,670,614.80. There are 5 recommended actions to consider. The first recommended action is to consider approving the police department vehicle replacement purchase of 9 vehicles from Shawnee Mission Ford, 1 motorcycle from Worth Harley Davidson, and 1 special use vehicle in the amount of $366,639. A majority vote is required for approval. Does anyone on the council have any questions? Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Second recommended action is to consider approving the fire department vehicle replacement purchase of 1 vehicle from Shawnee Mission Ford in the amount of $33,311. Majority vote is required for approval. Does anyone on the council have any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Third recommended action is consider approving and authorizing the mayor to sign the fire department purchase agreement with Conrad Fire Equipment for a 2020 Pierce Velocity pumper and additional loose equipment from various vendors in the amount of $744,225.18. Majority vote is required for approval. Does anyone on the council have any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Fourth recommended action is consider approving the Public Works Department vehicle replacement purchase of one vehicle from Kansas City Freightliner with corresponding equipment from the American Equipment, one street sweeper from Bucher Municipal in the amount of $403,088. Majority vote is required for approval. Does anyone on the council have any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
Motion's been made, seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Final recommended actions, consider approving the Parks and Recreation Department vehicle replacement purchase of one vehicle from Shawnee Mission Ford, corresponding equipment from Chuck's Trucks, 2 mowers from Professional Turf Products, and 1 utility cart from John Deere in the amount of $123,351.72. Majority vote is required for approval. Does anyone on the council have any questions? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
Motion has been made, seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is miscellaneous items. Item number 1 is to ratify the semi-monthly claims for January 13th, 2019 in the amount of $4,317,463.03. Is there any discussion from the council? Anyone from the audience like to speak to this item? I'll accept a motion.
So moved.
Second. Motion's been made, seconded on this item. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Motion passes. Miscellaneous council items. Does anyone on the council have any items they would like to discuss? Ms. Thomas?
Exactly what we as a council can and can't do to discuss moving forward with electing a president and a vice president.
I would ask that you don't have any interactive communications amongst each other. You all know from the prior discussions that we can't have interactive communication amongst a majority. And we've all discussed also the other issue that comes along. If you have an interactive communication with another council member, you have to be confident that that council member is not going to relay your communication to any other third party so as to have an unending interactive communication. So if our council has interactive communications with each other about this, I would like the council to be reminded that you don't have control over that unless you trust that person you're talking to not have any other communication that may involve what you discussed with that council member and thereby making it interactive. If that helps. If it doesn't, I'll send out another note that you can read and study.
That's fine.
Councilmember Constance?
I have a similar question. I guess I would just, before we leave, like to understand the next steps, because if every vote for that particular item went 4-4, we aren't having other conversations. I'm just not understanding what's going to happen at the next council meeting. That would allow us to choose someone to run the next committee meeting. So I don't really understand what happens next. I'd like clarification.
It'd probably be nice if we knew who you were asking.
I'm sorry. I guess I'm asking.
I think
Well,
I'm probably.
asking the mayor. I guess I'm asking Mayor
The mayor gets
Kissler,
to decide the point
how
of
do we
order.
proceed?
Our charter ordinance and our policy statement have any text or provision that refers to what happens. I assume since we've already gone through the ballot process, as she announced tonight, once we're done with the self-nominating ballot process, we would move then to the voice nomination, which she did tonight. And that was the stage at which we were at during the procedure when there was no other motion, and it seemed the only obvious thing we could do was to table the item, which she did.
And what were the options for the other motions at that time? I think
Because my
that's,
follow-up question was, could we motion for the mayor to vote? For Mayor Kissler to vote? Or what else can we do?
That is unfortunate. I don't know why I even said unfortunately. It is a provision of our charter ordinance, and that is the authority that the mayor is granted by charter ordinance, and we cannot force a mayor to vote, just as all of you cannot get together and force one of you to vote.
So perhaps if there is no council president, we take turns leading? Or
If we have no council president after the next meeting, I assume we would have to do something in terms of changing our charter ordinance.
Okay.
But there's nothing preventing the discussion happening during the meeting where everyone discusses and has conversations with one another until they can come to an agreement of a majority of who should be the next council president.
Absolutely, and there may be discussion amongst the council individually, as long as it is not an interactive communication and you don't discuss what another council member may have told you during that one-on-one communication.
Okay, thank you.
Any other miscellaneous council items? Seeing none, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
All right.
Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you.